doesn't work on me.
There we go. Got it.
Okay, I got that. Okay.
Got that.
Now I've got the message recording in progress.
Yes.
Isn't that
Yes.
absurd? In any case,
Okay,
look,
Daniel, Pascal, you're gonna talk about what you're talking about, and then we'll go into the
okay.
so everyone talking.
What I wanted to say is that, you know, you I don't know, some of you might not know, but I've been born in a family of astrologers. Okay, I was raised with astrology, you know, since my early years, and my dad, curiously enough, he was born in 1930, the year that Pluto was discovered.
Wow. That's
He was
cool.
basically the first generation of astrologers that was born with Pluto present in his chart. Yeah. Also, this being said, you know, he had close connections with Rudyard, with Markman Jones and everything. But basically, that generation, the generations of my dad, they had to basically go into, you know, to understand Pluto, they had to go into the mythology of the Greeks and the Romans and stuff to understand Pluto. But our generation, the generation of 1962, yeah, of which I'm part, and you are all part, yeah, the difference between that generation that discovered Pluto and our generation is that we basically, how do I put it? You know, we experience Pluto, and Pluto ain't that negative. You know, whenever we tell the previous generation I have an aspect with Pluto, it's like, whoa, you know, shit is going to happen, you know, to me, whatever. No, not at all. You know, Pluto can be, and that's my theory, yeah, is that when you're in a receptive mood, yeah, Pluto can be really, like mythology tells us, be the goldsmith of the gods. Yeah. Pluto can be extremely generous. It all depends how you react to an aspect to Pluto. You know, you can have a bad aspect with Pluto, bad being a disharmonious aspect with Pluto. Okay, for instance, as an example, Pluto square Mars, or like I have for the moment, I have Pluto, my natal Mars and my natal Saturn, yeah, which is, you know, in traditional astrology, you know, the worst aspect that you can have. But I have never been as happy in my life as I am today. And that's the difference, you know, with the traditional astrologers and me living this aspect today, you know. It's the goldsmith of the gods. Yeah. So Pluto is something, you know, that asks you as a human being today in this world, yeah, to be conscious of that aspect and how do you actually want to live that aspect. And you have a choice there. And one of the famous astrologers in my book, Charles Vougain, a French astrologer, which is the godfather of modern astrology, you know, Jones, Rudyard, you know, whatever. You know, he said that Pluto is actually the alpha and the omega of modern astrology. Yeah. So it, you know, Pluto will generate your chart, will, I don't like to use the word influence your chart will move your chart, yeah, the way you choose it, yeah. And it all depends how you interact with that Pluto. You want to be negative, it will be negative. You want to be positive, it will be so positive, yeah. Look at me, I have the worst aspect in traditional astrology that you can have. I have Pluto on my natal Mars, I have Pluto on my natal Saturn. And hey, by the way, you guys that are born in 1962, a lot of you guys, you know, are concerned by this. If you're born around the 2nd, the 3rd, and 4th of February 1962, you all have that aspect. Yeah? It is your choice whether you want to make it positive or negative. Yeah. And
I feel that too.
That's the force of Pluto. You can choose. And that's what Vouga told us, you know, the master in astrology. You can choose, you know, how Pluto will influence your life. Yeah. And for me, it's wonderful. For me, it's perfectly wonderful. I don't know about you, enough said.
I'll speak up. I totally agree.
Yeah.
Hold
So do
on.
I.
Go ahead.
Just so we so everyone gets a chance to speak. We were going to do like a 5-minute introduction. And so this is an interesting thing to kick off with, I think, is what Pascal was just talking about. So just so I'll hold the timer up when it comes to 5 minutes. And then if you want to say more, it's okay. We just want to make sure everyone speaks. So just acknowledge that you saw the timer so I don't keep feeling like I have to tell you. And if you want us to speak more, that's perfectly fine. And then we'll go around, and if once you finish speaking, then invite someone else to speak. That's what I do in my sister circles. So Kathleen, do you want to start?
Sure. I'm
Okay.
Kathleen Hughes. I was born in Portland, Oregon on the 1st of February, almost around midnight. My stellium is in the 4th house. My parents were seekers, and they were in esoteric circles as a child, and they took me to a famous astrologer. Her name was Zipporah Dobbins. And I remember it because she lived in Malibu and the waves were crashing underneath her house, and it was kind of crazy. And she said, I was a little kid at the time. She said, "Oh, she's one of those." And I said, "What does that mean? I'm a little kid, you know?" And she says, these are the people that we are going to be watching. These are the children that we are going to, that they will be watched around the world, because they were not sure what we were all about, and then that's kind of scared me as a kid, and then there was the whole Antichrist thing, and that kind of scared me too, but that's nothing anymore. um and so, I didn't get back into astrology until much later in life, when I started doing my own meditations and whatnot, and I said, okay, what is this about? But it isn't up until recently, a couple of years ago, I had this desire to figure, like, what is it? What is it? Why was I born like this? So I started doing my own path again with meditation every day, and so on. And I have come to understand and this is into Pascal's theory, that I am the energy of Aquarius. I'm not just this, but I am the energy. And we were born at a certain time when the window opened for the Aquarian energy to come to Earth and start a new cycle. There's the 25,000 year cycle, from Leo to Aquarius. And how I see it is, Pluto has moved into our energy. We are the Aquarian energy, and Pluto has moved into our field. So Pluto is nothing, for me, it's just another tool. I am the ruler of Aquarian. I am representative of that energy here on the planet. And Pluto has moved into our realm of understanding and of how things are run. So I also see Pluto as a tool. You can be fearful, so that's what you're going to manifest, something terrible. Or you can use it and say, this can be an opportunity for something new. So that is how I am going to see it. That is how I see it in my meditations. I meditated early this morning, and that is exactly what came to me. So I agree with Pascal. I'm maybe coming from it from a different angle. His is astrology, and mine is through meditation and trying to understand who I am here on this planet at this time, and why we were born in such a manner. I find it interesting that we have had, this is our second stellium in 3 years, in the Aquarian energy. I mean, there is something to this. I mean, this is our third stellium that I know of. Yeah, 3 times. It's the triangle. That's the magic geometry, the sacred geometry. We have the ability to use this energy to manifest something new, to create a new world. Like I said, you can be fearful, or you don't, and I choose not to be fearful. So that was just something I wanted to follow up with. So, I don't know. Is there something you want to know about me?
You have a minute left, so what would you like to share about what's going on, maybe?
Oh, okay. Well, I'll say in the last few years where everybody's been, dealing with COVID and whatnot, I actually had a pretty spectacular and transformational journey. I did the path of the I am for a couple of years, and I can't go into all the experiences that I had at this point, but yeah, I had some unusual awakening moments, and I believe this is just the beginning.
Well, I'm excited. I would love to hear about all the wisdom you've been receiving. And you will have another chance to speak. We're just going to keep going
Oh yeah,
around.
no, that's fine.
So if you want to share in more detail, I don't know if you want to share on this public's recording, but it would be cool.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see.
So yeah, just so everyone knows, oops, so that was 5 minutes. So yeah, we're gonna keep doing this around and around. So it's not the only 5 minutes you have to talk. So Kathleen, do you want to invite the next person and say where you're from, your name, and maybe your birthday and where your stellium is too?
Okay, I don't know. I can't see who's on there. So I only know you and Dan and Pascal. I can't see who else is on there. I see.
You got Sue, Lou,
Okay, I invite
Elizabeth.
Sue. I hand the talking stick to Sue. I wish I had one.
Oh, thank you.
This is now your turn.
All right. I was born February 5th, right around lunchtime, so mom didn't get to eat, but hey. I don't really know a lot about the astrology stuff. I like to follow it, but for some reason I can't get it to stick in my brain. So but I enjoy listening to you guys. I really do. Let's see. I live in Iowa. And I wish I could spend some time right now outside, but there's 2 inches of snow on the ground and it's kind of chilly. So I'm going to stay in the house. Let's see. Well, my roommate was just in here, but it's a cat and I don't know why he left. Sorry. Let's see. This, let's see. I retired like 2 years ago. And so I've been just hanging out, not really doing a whole lot. I do volunteer with a group that I support a group that does search and recovery, finding people that are missing underwater. And I for a long time I was like, what do I want to do? What is my purpose after retirement? And I found this, and I was just moved by the fact that someone goes out and helps families find missing loved ones, and they don't charge them anything. It's all free. They just go on by people supporting them and stuff. And I've really found my calling. I love it. Let's see what else. I don't know. I'm kind of shy.
Do you want to speak to anything that Pascal said about how you see Pluto and how it's impacting you?
Well, I don't know. Like I say, I don't really know a lot about astrology. I've always loved the planet Pluto, and I was so sad when they decided to kick it out of the planets list of planets, and I was like, now it's back, and it's like I've always liked the underdog, so I like Pluto. I love Pluto. I don't really know how it's affecting my life, but it must be doing something. I recently got my eyes tested, and I've got a cataracts, and so I'm going to get cataract surgery, and then I won't have to use these glasses anymore. Yay! Other than that, everything about my life right now is going really good. Family and yes.
Where is your stellium, Sue? Where is your?
I have no idea. I really don't know.
Maybe sometime I'll try and help you pull up a chart.
Okay.
We'll talk off this.
Okay, that sounds good. I I had Jody Conrad look at it one time, and she was telling me things, but my life, I've been so busy with work in the past, and I think I'm also ADD, so I tend to have too many projects going all at once, and I do a lot of different things. And one thing I like to do is I like to learn things online, and I've got with David Wilcox, and he has some really good, interesting things, and I love learning about the universe and um, how it started, like the Big Bang and all that. And it's just so darn interesting. I mean, a lot learning about like theoretical physics and stuff. And I mean, I wasn't good in that department in school, but I love learning it more about it now. Um,
A very Aquarian.
oh yeah, very. Um, my sister got me a chart years ago that told all about my life, and it said I was going to go into science and as a career, and I did. I wanted to be a veterinarian, couldn't master that, so I went into vet tech, did that for a few years, and then I decided I'm going to go to the USDA and work there, and worked there for 33 years and learned a lot, worked with a lot of veterinarians, and well, now I'm learning physics. So hey,
And you're helping those animals. It's so beautiful. The
oh,
rescue.
well, the rescue, that's people. They're
Oh,
looking
that's
for missing
people. That's right. That's
pe-
even, I mean,
people missing
all
in their
good.
cars
Animals,
underwater. Yep.
it's amazing. All right,
So,
that was 5 minutes. So
alrighty.
maybe
Let's go to Elizabeth.
Well, thank you. I was born on the 9th of February, and my stellium is in my first house. So I have been feeling like very intense energies in the recent weeks. So I feel like I don't feel an impending doom. I feel like it's like the roller coaster is like the click, 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 click going on. And we're about to go through with a ride. I feel like waiting for something, like it feels really intense. But I feel that it's our time, that we've been waiting all our lives for this. And I feel like all the things that we are fighting for that seem to be, there's this huge pushback right now for all the civil rights and so on in the United States. And it's like, I feel like it's because they know that their days are numbered. And so they're trying so desperately, because it's going to be social justice and humanitarianism, and we're going to start seeing the results. I'm just anxious for it to just already be here already. But anyway, I'm here I live in North Carolina now, but I lived in Switzerland for 10 years. I lived in Costa Rica for 10 or 12 years, but I've been back here now. And I must say, I don't feel like I belong in the United States. I never did feel like I belonged here, because the problems that we have are so deep. And when I think about my childhood and I go look at like what we were doing, and what we would watch westerns on TV, so we were just watching indigenous people being shot on a daily, and nobody ever questioned that. And I feel like I always knew that I didn't fit in, but at the same time, it's just what everyone else is watching, what everyone else is doing. But I still never liked the violence that was constant on the TV and stuff. And I'm just waiting for now my kids are grown. My youngest turned 18 and he graduated high school. So now I feel like my whole life is ahead of me, but I don't know what I'm going to do with the rest of the time now that I have finished being a single mother after so many years. And I'm just, I feel like something's happening, but I don't, it's like that Bob Dylan lyric, something is happening here, but you don't know what it is, do you, Mr. Jeff? Something's happening here. I'm here for it. And I don't think I need 5 minutes though.
But did you tell them about your book and what's happening with your book?
Oh, okay. So I wrote a book on tarot because I learned an old European method of fortune telling when like 30 years ago in Geneva. And I want to start teaching the method because it's just it's like a very basic structure of tarot, and it so that you don't need to go look at the book after once you learn it, you can just do and I use the 12 houses in my readings because I lay the cards in the 12 houses so that they are read like an astrological chart. And I'm very excited to start actually with some structure. I needed the structure to start teaching courses. So that's all.
Well, that's and you didn't mention you're working with a coach too, so that's pretty big.
Yeah, I started working with a business coach because I'm afraid I don't know how to create a business, entrepreneur like style. I've always worked for somebody. I always worked with either charity or international organizations and so on. So now this is completely new. I'm not very good at keeping commitments to myself. Like I know that if I knew I was supposed to be here at this Zoom, so at 4 o'clock, I'm going to be here. But if it's up to me, I don't if I set a goal for myself, like say, oh, I'm going to walk every day for half an hour. The first day I'll just say, oh, well, it's raining. I guess I'll do it. And then that teaches you that you can't trust yourself. So then I don't set goals for myself because I don't keep promises to myself. And I'm trying to work on that. That's my.
So that's 5 minutes.
All right. Thank
And
you.
just say to you, that's the old you, not anymore. The new you.
The new me is bursting out here.
Stays on track. So that's my little coaching coming out there. Elizabeth, you can invite the next person, please.
All right. I'm going to call on my birthday twin, Christine.
Our neighbors, we have to get together again soon, Elizabeth.
I'd love to.
Well, I confess, I recently found my actual birth certificate and found out my birth time was wrong. So my stellium is in the 9th house, except for Venus is in the 10th, just a little over the edge in the 10th. I have Aries moon and Gemini rising. And so anyway, I didn't know anything about this stuff until I knew I was an Aquarius, and I always identified with being Aquarius, but I didn't know anything about our birth cohort until 1997. I read an article in the Mountain Astrologer about our cohort, and I was like, wow, I was really excited about it. And then it was 2006, that same person who wrote that article had a blog called the Aquarian Digest on the internet. That's where, I mean, that's how this whole thing got started, our group. But anyway, I'm kind of excited about Pluto, but yet it's like a black box. I really don't know what it means for me. So I'm just trying to learn. And we just ended the Saturn return, which was not easy, but I feel like the next 20 years are going to be great. And I just want to thank Dan and Andrea for putting this call together. I'm glad we could all get together.
Yeah, good stuff.
Well, thank you, Christine, for starting this whole group. If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't all be here right now.
I didn't start it, but I kept it up because
Oh, you did not. Okay, but you continued with the torch. So
but he and I were like the two who were most involved in getting it going and keeping it going. But and I'm so thankful that Dan agreed to be an administrator, because it was, that has helped tremendously. And I really appreciate all his posts in the group. So,
Christine, you have 2 more minutes, or 2.5 more minutes if there's something else you want to share.
well, I really like what Kathleen was saying, and I'm interested in maybe I'd like to talk to you more, Kathleen, about the stuff you shared, because it's so interesting to me. And I also think it's really cool how Pascal was the son of an astrologer and knows so much about Pluto and all this stuff. I mean, I confess I have many interests, and so I'm like I can't focus on any one thing long enough to get up to speed on it. I just do a little bit here and a little bit there and a little bit here. And so, but I'm a scientist. I've always been interested in theoretical physics and philosophy of science and history and culture. And I'm a sociologist, but I'm also interested in science in general. And I've always felt myself to be a visionary. I want to see the planet with, everybody living in peace and no poverty, no sickness. I believe that we'll see. Dan made a post earlier about how much change we've seen since we've been born. And I think that not in the not too distant future, we'll be able to fix anything that goes wrong in the body. We won't have this, the medical industrial complex will collapse. And so I'm excited.
Wonderful. Well, I think we're all a little ADD in this Aquarian stellium, aren't we? That's one thing we seem to all have in common for sure. So Christine, do you want to invite someone else to share now, please?
I don't know who else on that hasn't spoken yet besides Yvette.
Well, there's Pascal, Kathleen, Louise, Dan, Sue already spoke, Yvette, me,
And Lauren.
and Lauren. Well, she's not here yet. She's
Can you guys see me?
yeah, we see you, Kathleen. Hey,
Kathleen's on. I was talking about, and I love the Kathleen who already spoke. I love your sunglasses.
Oh, happen to be outside, so and I'm blind, so I have to wear them.
Okay,
But-
how about Yvette?
Yvette.
Thank you, Christine, and happy birthday, Aquarius siblings. I hope you have enjoyed your particular days. My stellium is, I was born in February 4, and my stellium is mostly in the 4th house, which has to do with family, mother, and I believe the place I was born. I was born in Puerto Rico. And the changes that I have experienced lately, I have been in my family. My family during the COVID emergency was very impacted. There have been very many losses. And also friends that I felt that family also were very impacted by COVID. And I think that my lesson was at that moment, because I was trying to save everybody and I had a burnout that affected me emotionally and physically, was that there are ways to help people that should not impact your health and your mental health. I think that was the lesson that I had to learn, because I'm being always like a caregiver. I have a son with autism. I came from a family with autistic people. And I saw my father taking care of his brother. So it's been that has been the theme of my family, to take care of other people. So I think that for some reason, and I think that I believe, and this is only a theory, but I believe that what I'm learning now with this new stage is to make an impact in a more wide, not in a personal one-to-one, but in a more community impact, which is what is working for me right now. I have been making a transition in the past 3 years in developing these nonprofit organizations of Puerto Ricans in Houston, and that is what I think that my path is going. And also my work in the arts is turning from the original work of art that I did, which was solo shows, to community shows. And I believe that this is what I'm heading to right now. I am still in a transitional phase. And the other transition was that I was a single mother of an autistic child. And this year, no, in 2022, he found a wonderful job in technology and engineering. He's doing great, and this year he moved out to his own apartment, and he's independent, which is something that I never saw in my family. In my family was a family of caregivers living with adult children with disabilities all their lives. And that was another change that was surprising for me. And another surprise that I'm receiving is that I'm beginning to be more active in the arts again, which I thought that was something that was taken away from me and suddenly is coming back. So in terms of what I believe that the change that I'm hoping to see with this new cycle, the Aquarius cycle and the end of the Pisces cycle, is that in the Pisces cycle ended with the theme of what the young generation called the narcissist personality disorder. And I believe that it was the cycle of the Messiah and the opposite of the Messiah, because this is a dual planet. Our planet is duality. So the opposition of the Messiah is the Messiah complex, or what the younger people call the narcissist personality disorder. And this is the first time in the whole cycle that the new generation was able to verbalize what was all about. This thing that they call power has been working in a narcissist platform. So what I'm hoping is that we are shifting the platform from the narcissist perspective to a humanitarian perspective. And I'm hoping also that this platform doesn't have an opposition that doesn't work in duality. So I'm hoping that this platform is a new concept that doesn't have a negative opposition. So this is what I've been thinking about lately.
Well, thank you, Yvette. That was exactly 5 minutes, but you know what? The clock mysteriously stopped and I didn't notice, so it resumed and then it finished exactly at 5 minutes. So it was perfect.
Okay.
And Yvette, I wanted to say thank you for making that amazing illustration in the spaceship, because that's how I feel like we are it just was perfect. I just love that image. I love
I had a lot of fun doing it.
Oh. In fact, at the end of our call, I was going to offer a meditation where we take a little journey through space. So a guided
That's wonderful.
guided meditation if you guys want it. So thank you, Yvette. So Yvette, do you want to invite the next person to share?
Yes.
Oops.
Kathleen Stone.
Okay. Hi, I recognize some of you guys from the last meeting. Nice to see you again and see the new people. I came late, so I'm guessing I'm supposed to fill this 5 minutes with whatever I want. Is that right?
Yeah, it's just like an introduction, whatever you want to share in with 5 minutes.
Okay. Well, I was born on February 5th, just after midnight, so have the sun and the moon and all those planets in mostly the 4th house, with a little bit in the 3rd house. So I have some of I remember that original article. I can't remember the person who wrote it, that was in the Aquarian Digest, and they were saying that many people have a trauma early in life. I think I lost my father when I was 1. And so I have a perspective of a fatherless daughter, which is kind of unusual, kind of interesting, because my mother also was a fatherless daughter, and my daughter, my partner died when my daughter was 1. So theme. So I'm kind of a tomboy, and I'm pretty risk friendly. So in my earlier years, that manifested in more difficult manifestations, but now it sort of shows up in business. I have my own business, and although I would like to make a shift from being a chef, and I am a writer, but I would like to be a more serious writer. And so I'm trying to get that practice. And I was thinking about what Elizabeth said about making promises to yourself. And then once you slip, then it's easier to kind of just like, that was just an idea. It wasn't a real resolution. So I'm trying to take it easy on myself and start anew. Like Andrea said, just this is the new, this is not the old. I'm pretty excited, even though it's like perilous shit going down in the world. I do feel excited that personally, that I am working on raising my consciousness and just having faith that it's going around me as well, and that that's the one of the biggest ways I can help is just to not succumb to fear and negativity. So finding out how to have a foundation of health and peace of mind throughout everything that's going on. I'm just like a couple of months into my empty nest. My 19-year-old daughter just moved. I live on San Juan Island, which is across from Vancouver Island. It's American, and so my daughter moved to Seattle, which is just like a couple-hour ferry ride and a couple-hour drive away. But I've been a parent for 35 years. I started out with my daughter when I was 25, and she had a wonderful childhood, but she did have in her early adult life her first she's bipolar, or I should say her diagnosis is bipolar. It's not really clear to me if that's right, and so she had quite a disruptive 10 years. So that really took over when we were in New Zealand. My family lived in New Zealand for 14 years. So I'm kind of just surfacing from a marriage where I felt kind of like I couldn't leave. It wasn't ideal. I had a narcissistic partner, and I felt like I couldn't really leave. I had 2 young kids, and I also had this daughter that was, having psychiatric hospitalizations about every 6 months. So just didn't want to rock the boat. But now I have my life back. So I'm just feeling around and remembering my own goals, and I feel like personally, me and probably collectively or individually, we all have had to struggle through challenges and trauma, and seems to be par for the course. But I was just thinking, like, every advance I've made that was substantial started out with something that was unbearable. that I had to get out of because it sort of pushed me. So hopefully that's what's going on the planet. And I really was encouraged by what Elizabeth said about the signals we're getting are sort of death cries of the establishment and let's see what else. It's been exciting to see different members here, like Andrea. Is it time?
Yeah, that was 5 minutes, but we're going to go around again, so you'll have more time.
Okay.
After, yeah. Well, Kate, it's great to see you, and it's really wonderful to hear everybody instead of just reading on Facebook. So, Kate, do you want to invite the next person to share for 5 minutes, please?
Sure. I missed the first few, so if I pick somebody that's already
well, Louise has not gone, Dan has not gone, Pascal has not gone, I have not gone. Anybody else?
Okay, I'll pick Louise.
Okay.
Thanks, darling. Hi, everyone. I'm Lou, and I'm in Australia, and it's beautiful weather here at the moment. Nice and sunny. I don't know what it is in Fahrenheit, but we're about 30 degrees here at the moment. So very hot and sunny, absolutely gorgeous. Probably, I think I did Zoom last year, but I think this is probably, my second time here. My stellium is in the 11th house. I've got about 6 planets in there. And then in the opposite house, in Leo, I have Pluto, which is quite interesting being in the opposite sign. And I think the North Node and the South Node, North Node this time is in Aries and South Node is in Libra. But my moon is Aries and my rising sign is Aries, and I just love my fire energy just to keep me motivated. Otherwise, I can get so stuck in my brain and just gone. But I'm a lapitrist. I cut stones. I've always been interested in cutting stones. I got diagnosed early with Parkinson's disease, and I found with cutting and connecting with crystals and stones that I just got, eventually I connected other receptors up and that sort of thing. But I do have restless legs syndrome, which absolutely drives me bonkers. So that's probably more to do with my 11th house and the Aquarius energy anyway. So that's probably the biggest challenge for me, just to not be so restless. Other than that, I love that we're advancing into other dimensions, and that's where I'm at. I just love that. I think that's where the world's going to go, into another dimension. I think that's the big shift with Pluto, and that's exciting. I feel excited to have Pluto in my sign. So I'm a tarot reader. I'll have to catch up with you, Elizabeth. I watched Live and Let Die when I was about 5, and I thought, oh, the High Priestess, I have to be her. So that's where I've come from with the tarot. And I have a YouTube channel, and amazingly, the people that I've got tuned in at the moment is Capricorn, and whether or not they need to have the help with the transition from Pluto out of Capricorn into Aquarius. That will be interesting to see where that goes. But other than that, life, I've had some major challenges over the last couple of years, but I'm sort of the lights at the end of the tunnel now, and I'm just looking forward to life, living it and creating it, and just loving life. It's really good stuff. I make my own medicines. I found mainstream medication, especially with the Parkinson's, it was no good for me. The tablets were worse than the disease in the end. So I make tinctures up and brews. I make brews up and that sort of stuff. I love getting creative. I love making spaces in my home and that sort of stuff. That's just me. But change the dimensions. I really think we're heading for a dimension. I don't know if you know the story of the 100th monkey. That's where all, yeah. And that's how I feel consciousness will change. As soon as we rise, and I don't feel that, because I'm a humanitarian, I do volunteer work. I cook for the homeless and that sort of stuff. I've just always worked volunteer. It's just me. I find that very rewarding. But I can see as a humanitarian, life's going to change for many people on another dimension. And I think once we reach that dimension, there'll be no homelessness, there'll be no violence. We'll just tune into this higher vibration, and it'll be a major consciousness for all of us. And I just feel that. So I'm excited to what life will bring. I think Pluto's going to be a wonderful change for many people. Lots of tower moments, I suppose, for people as we realise that the life we're living is not what we want. So you're going to have a tower moment and you're actually going to pull in a new one. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm really excited. And I love that everyone's here. And I hear everybody's stories and I think, oh, that's me too. So I feel so much a part of this collective.
Louise,
So,
you just fit right in. It's just like amazing. Yeah. Like I feel like we're this multifaceted diamond. It's just so mesmerizing. Like I feel so connected to all of you, and it's just amazing. It's so great.
yeah, that's how I feel too. It's just, different facets of myself I see in everybody else. I think, this is just, and even in some conversations I've had with Dan, and I look at sometimes Dan's chart and I think, oh, something happened to me when I was 2 as well. And I click on that and I think, oh, that's interesting. So it'll be interesting to connect with my twins as well, because I'm the 9th of February as well.
9th of February. Great.
Yep. Yep,
Wow.
there you go, Elizabeth. I knew that, the 9th. So, and I think, Christine, you're the 9th as well. And I think, Dan, you're the 8th. So I still seem to connect with you, Dan, because even that was a time difference. So, yeah, it's exciting. It's good stuff.
Well, it would have been the 8th here when you were born, because you're ahead of us.
Yeah, but we have such similar charts. It's quite, interesting stuff. But that's me. Just loving life. Whatever it brings. I mean, it's just challenges. Life it's school here on Earth. We get through them. So as hard as they are, but no, great stuff. So who else can I pass the light to?
So Dan, Pascal
Dan,
left.
yes.
Dan and me are the last ones.
Dan, go for
Go ahead,
it.
Dan. Take it away.
Okay.
Dan.
All right. And so I've shared updates about what's going on in my personal life right now in Zoom 1, and so I'd rather go somewhere else with this one. So a little bit about me. I'm born on February 8th in Beloit, Wisconsin, which is about 92 miles north of Chicago, Illinois, for reference. It's right on the Illinois-Wisconsin state line, 6:56 p.m. And that puts most of my stellium in the 6th house. I do have a couple of planets in the 5th house. I've got Virgo rising ascendant, and Pluto is on my ascendant. And I don't know about the rest of you, but I have Venus, Sun, Jupiter conjunct in Aquarius, as well as, as part of the stellium. So that kind of amps things up even more. But then we have, in my chart at least, Uranus is exactly in opposition to the Sun. So the heart of the stellium, and then also, Pluto and Scorpio on my ascendant as well. So it's interesting. It's very interesting. That makes Mercury, which was retrograde at the time, the ruler of my chart. So when I hear some of you talking about writing, I have about 3 novels in various states of completion that I've been chipping away at for probably 15 years. I don't know when the last chip will fall. Because like the rest of us, I'm very much a procrastinator. So there were bits and pieces that I was hearing people say in the earlier conversation, and they've kind of flown through my head and gone on. So I'm not sure when I'll remember, what I'll remember to comment on, because there were a couple of things that I had meant to, but in the interest of not interrupting, I kind of kept quiet. I'm looking at this point to try to claw back some personal time. Right. I work so much and have for so long that I'm trying to figure out how to make the next few years about getting some time for the spiritual / artistic side of self, because it in my life has always been this battle for our time and attention between technology and artistry. It's been a big theme throughout my life, and of course, like many people, I've gone with what everyone told me would be more financially lucrative, and I loved anyway. So I became a tech geek, and my art has been kind of like stuffed in the closet, so to speak. So there's that aspect of whatever transformation is going on, that's coming into play in it. And I think the more years that go by without me addressing the artistic side of myself, the more it wants to scream and holler and nag for attention. So there's that. We do have this big shift in energy going on. Planetary, Pluto's not generally considered a personal planet. It may be somewhat personal for us because we have the stellium, and it's going to be going and knocking on the door of every planet we have in our stellium for our natal charts. So to us, it's going to be a little more personal than your average bear, but it's really more of a global phenomenon with Pluto. It's the inner planets, the ones that move quick, that are in towards the sun from Earth or close to the Earth, like Mars, is the next closest one out. Venus, Mercury, those are considered personal planets. The moon, of course, because it's right here. But the outer planets like Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto are all considered non-personal or generational planets in astrology. This is one area that I do know. I wish Pascal was here because he could probably talk about that somewhat too. He kind of dropped off, but it's going to be a global phenomenon. And we're transitioning from a Piscean age, which is heavy religion, Neptunian dreams, visions, is very, very, very spiritual, to a much more community I want to say inventive, but I mean inventive, but creative, insight kind of driven, sciencey, knowledge-based society, and we're at the cusp of that transition. So it's like when you mix oil and water and shake it up, they stick together for a while and you get a lot of both, but after a while one's going to fade out and the other one's not. And the Aquarian energy is just going to get stronger and stronger and stronger. So we're going to see a lot of whiplash yo-yo effects for probably quite a while. Yeah, because this is 2,500, 2,600 year age that we're entering just at the beginning of. So that it's going to take a while for the Piscean backlash to get out of here. Emphasis on get out of here. Yeah, but I can't see how this entire capitalistic house of cards that we have going is going to last, because what's going to happen is going to be the laws of physics can't be legislated. They are what they are, and the environment and technology on top of it. You know, technology is a big democratizer in society. You know, we all have a much bigger voice, and no one has as big a voice as, you know, the big capitalistic winners, so to speak, have had in the past. You know, the traditional media's voice is shrinking because everyone else is growing, and now it's more a war for eyes and ears, a competition for attention. I think that's going to be the way of the future, and it's going to be ever so much more so. You know, when it comes to AI, I think we're going to have fits and starts and false starts and a lot of that kind of stuff. But I think in the long term, as it's brought around and perfected, as it gets better and better, I think in the long term it's going to be a good thing, because it will allow us to put more life in life, so to speak. It can do a lot of the drudge work that is repetitive and isn't really suited for people, and let people do the things that are interesting, creative, innovative, and that kind of stuff. So I see that as one of the good sides of AI. Meanwhile, as you know, everything that's online has all kinds of privacy considerations, and privacy is almost a thing of the past. You know, so no matter what you do, things get leaked online. You see big hacks every day. So the age of keeping secrets is it's shrinking, and you know, just I expect that, you know, pretty much everything about life is going to be out in the open at some point or another. There isn't going to be anywhere to hide, because I mean, the things that they can do with technology, networking is everywhere, and it's becoming in more places. So just, we're all going to be open books in a way. You know, that's coming down the pipe too. So
Dan, I don't want to interrupt you, but I just want to remind you that that was more than 5 minutes. So
okay,
we
all right.
can continue. I want to hear more what you're saying, but in the next round, I think.
Okay, Lauren
Lauren
just jumped in, so I'm going to pass the talking stick over to her.
So Lauren, we're just doing a 5-minute introduction, and whatever you
I've been in the call the whole time. I've
Oh,
heard.
good. Okay, great. That's right. Okay,
I
good.
was
Welcome.
driving. I was at the gym. I was hoping to make it back to my desk on
You
time,
made
but
it. Yay.
I finally made it. Yay. I had to prioritize a workout. So
Okay.
anyway, hi everybody. It's really good to see my brothers and sisters and hear so many themes. So I was born on February 5th. I was given up for adoption and placed in a Chicago hospital. It was 6:23 p.m. So my stellium is mostly in the 6th house, depending on which chart. Sometimes I've got Saturn and Mars in the 5th, and sometimes it lumps them in the 6th. So anyway, and then Virgo rising like you, Dan. And so let's see, how do I summarize? I was about 25 when I first learned about us. I was grown up, I was adopted by a couple of Capricorns, which is really interesting. Very conservative Christian, white middle class Chicago suburbs, very normal kind of childhood. But I felt this longing, this craving. I was curious. And so ended up attracting some teachers in my mid-20s that taught me about different kinds of philosophies, earth-based religions, and spirituality and consciousness and metaphysics and all of that. And one of my teachers had this book, and she pulled it out, and it was the description of that day when we were all born. And she screamed when she read it. And I was like, what? What is going on? So that set me on a quest. My background is in corporate communications. I took a leap of faith in my late 20s. So first Saturn return around 28. left that career and moved west, and my desire was to teach metaphysics. I started teaching metaphysics kind of on the side when I was still working corporate communications. I moved out to the West Coast and worked for a Unity church, and meanwhile, continued my studies. And then I got certified as a hypnotherapist and a clinical hypnotherapist. And I have been doing that work ever since the early 90s. Ended up moving to Seattle in 94. I married a 62 Aquarius. So we were married for 18 years. I took it as a sign from the universe because we had so many things in common, and we're a little different, all of us, right? So I took it as a sign. He's very, bubbly, quirky, interesting man. But when our marriage was kind of on the rocks, I went to one of my astrology friends and I was like, but aren't we supposed to be together? And we're looking at our charts, and she says, his planets were in the 2nd and the 5th. And according to her, he was like going back and forth between like Pluto and Eeyore in his personality. With mine in the 6th, the metaphor she used was, you're more like Mother Teresa, more like, Oprah, wanting to be more magnanimous. And so it was just, it didn't end up working out. And so that was between 2011 and 2012. So I don't know if any of you went through some rough spots during that time, but that was really, my parents both died. I got divorced. My dog died, moved out. It was a lot of heavy drama. But one of my teachers is Dr. Joe Dispenza. And, I continue to try to practice what I preach, and in fairly short order, attracted my current relationship, who I've been with for 12 years, and we're very happy. And we're going to move to Thailand in October. So we're getting ready we're clearing all of our personal belongings. So my little tchotchkes and things like that will be moved so that we can rent our house out furnished. And then we're going to go be digital nomads in Thailand for 6 months. So that's a big, big change. And then energetically for me, what's been happening is I've been setting a lot of boundaries lately, boundaries with my ex-husband, boundaries with some work that I've done, one of the board members of a nonprofit organization that's been, challenging. So I'm setting boundaries, and I'm releasing expectations of who I think I had to be so that I can step more fully into doing what I love and doing the work that I'm doing. And I'm grateful for that. I'm seeing results in my universe. And who's holding up the timer? Because I have no idea.
It's 5 minutes.
It's 5 minutes. Perfect. I just had that feeling. It's like we're probably right about there. So yeah, a quick synopsis. Lots going on, and good to be here.
Your Aquarian intuition is working well.
Thanks.
It's great to hear all that's going on with you, Lauren. And so glad you could make it. So I guess that leaves me to share. So I'll go for 5 minutes and then we'll go around again. So yeah, oh gosh, I didn't learn about this. I was born February 7th, 1962 in Toronto. So that means my stellium is all in the 3rd house, and like all of them in the 3rd house. And I didn't know about it until I was about 35 or 36 years old, when I was trying to finish my documentary film, The Sacred Run, The Lotus and the Feather. And at the same time I was trying to finish this mammoth film with no money, I was also trying to start my career as a singer-songwriter. And I was performing in cafes, and I was also decided this would be a good time to start really becoming an actress and get an agent. And so, and then I went to see this astrologer, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. I want to write, I want to sing, I want to dance. I feel like I'm all over the place. I don't know what I'm supposed to focus on. And it's taking me so long to make this documentary film, and I just don't know what path is the best path for me to succeed on. And I have too many interests, and I'm sure you can all relate. So she
Yeah.
said, well, you're one of those. You're a stellium, and you're just who you are. So forget about choosing one of those things or even two of those things. You're just going to do all of those things because that's who you are. And so then, okay, so then that, whatever, that'll happen. And then this last year was the worst year of my life. And because this is a public video, I don't want to say why, but basically, tower, just a year of tears and loss and grief, and my whole body fell apart. Like I literally fell on the ground in a traumatic moment of remembering my childhood when our house burnt down. And what happened in my life triggered this memory of childhood. So I literally feel like the emotional memory from that is what I'm kind of trying to heal. Well, not trying, I am healing it. And this year, thank God, 2024 is just, I feel so much stronger. I'm so excited about Pluto. I started leading women's circles in 2019, and I'm kind of doing that again because last year I could barely function, let alone lead monthly circles and everything else I was trying to do. So the circles are back. I'm launching my chakra program in March 30th, and I tried to do it last year. I just couldn't do it. I felt like I was made of lead last year. And so I feel like I'm back on my horse or taking off as my dragonfly. And I've also been, I joined Toastmasters. And the crazy thing about this is finding my voice has been my lifelong journey, which is funny because all my stellium's in Mercury, the third house of communication. But I've been shy my whole life, and I couldn't communicate my thoughts verbally. So I thought I was stupid until I was whatever, a teenager. So it's been a life of overcoming my fears of communicating and expressing myself. And, I'm fine on a stage as an actress now. I'm fine on the stage as a singer-songwriter. But this public speaking felt like my last frontier. And Facebook media, social media videos that I'm like talking about all this esoteric stuff and just terrified of persecution. And finally at age 62, I feel like I no longer give a fuck what people think of me, because I am who I am, and I've always been who I am. And I'm just gonna lean into more who I am. And if those who can't handle my energy or what I'm doing because it's too weird or whatever they think of me, I don't care, because I'm living my purpose and I'm feeling on fire, and I want to I've never earned more than or I shouldn't say never, I've rarely earned more than $1,000 in my life, because I've always pursued my creative and spiritual dreams, but I never knew how to sell the things that I made. So this last few years, I've been leaning into marketing, and then my time's up. But I'm just going to wrap it up by saying that I'm really committed to becoming financially free at last this year, so I can travel and meet you in Thailand, Lauren, and Bali, and just be a free gypsy soul that I am. So that's
Come to Australia too.
and Australia too.
Yeah.
And then I'm
Me
gonna
in California, right?
yeah, and make more movies and do everything we want to do. All right, so thank you. And let's go around again. So sometimes by sharing, we spark, people want to share. So if there's anything else you want to add, let's go around again. So I'm going to pass the feather back to, let's see, who began this? Was it Kathleen? Were you the first one?
I was actually.
Okay, so I'm handing it back to you, Kathleen. And we'll do, let's see, it's 5:24, so we have how many? 5, 10, 15, 20, 20. Let's do like 2 minutes each,
Okay.
and then we'll might have extra time over at the end.
Okay. I have a lot to say, so 2 minutes is, I don't know.
Well, if
Um,
you can talk longer, if you want to talk longer.
Oh, no,
just
it's
not-
fine. We can get together later. I don't need to explain everything in 1 minute. And, I just want to say it's nice to meet everybody. I first, like I said earlier, I first understood this stellium thing when I was about 7. But my parents were into esoteric teaching, so they kind of led me to understand some certain things. I was one of those kids that remembered past lives when I was little. So I've always been kind of strange. I would tell people, I would go around in school and tell people, I know I used to live in Greece and I used to live in Egypt. And, I was always the strange child. Always been an artist. Did the sex, drugs, and rock and roll. And then I got out of it. I've been clean and sober 30 years. I meditate twice a day, usually. I am currently in a relationship, but it's very difficult. So I'm not sure where that's going. We've been together 20 years, but it's, in transition. Let's see, what else can I tell you? I see a lot of us are artists, and we all have that attention disorder thing. It's like we don't focus. I think maybe that's something we need to do. So I don't know. I'm grateful to be here. I found this group. How did I find this group? There was about 3 years ago. I started feeling this surge within me and I had a client who was also an astrologer. She says, "Man, I can feel you." She says, "You need an outlet. You need a group." So I started searching, and I found some meditation groups and whatnot because I hadn't been doing it for a long time because my partners were not into it. So that was very difficult for me. I had to keep this part of me in a closet. I had to keep this part of me quiet because they didn't understand. I've been called a witch. I've been called a few things, but yeah, and then they said, "Man, you're spooky." I don't know if that's just part of being the Aquarian or it's just, who I am. And that's a whole nother ballgame. Let me see what else. So anyhow, so I just started searching online and I said, why do I have all of this energy? Why am I all in one, it's just a lot. I'm all air. So I said, I need to be tethered. I need something to hold me back because I go. I start on a thought and it just goes. So anyways, that's how I found this group. And I think that was a couple of years ago, and I just started searching. What else can I tell you? I live in California. I was born in Portland, but I've been in California most of my life, Southern California for that. But I have lived in other states, but I always seem to kind of move back to this area. There's something here. I live in the desert. It's there's some energy here, definitely. But that's a whole nother story. What else can I tell you?
That was 3 minutes.
Okay,
Kate.
sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. I gave you 3 minutes, but that's okay. I love getting to know everybody better. It's just
Right. Because we just do Facebook. So it's, yeah.
Exactly. And so I think Sue, you were maybe next.
Yes.
Previous order.
Yeah. I'd like to share something that I found over the last few years is I believe I have energy in me that I've gone to different places. Like there's a place in southern Minnesota where there's indigenous peoples group that used to live in this one area. And we went and visited some friends and I was just putting my hands on the rocks and I could feel energy coming from the rocks. And it was like, I don't know, it just felt like it was something from those people from the ancient times. I've noticed that different places. I've put my hands on like trees and I can in different areas that I can feel energy. I was in Sedona, Arizona once, and I love that place, but the energy there is just tremendous. When I touch trees and rocks and stuff, it, it made me want to feel like I want to get into like I can do some kind of energy healing of people, but I mean, I don't have a lot of confidence, but yet I feel like it's there, so I should really be utilizing it. I have a niece that I feel like we're kindred spirits because she has the same thing. And I don't know. I don't know if everybody's ever had that where you could just feel energy. I'm known to give really good neck and shoulder massages. People just think and I'm like, I don't have any training in that, but I'd like to do that. Anyway, that's just something about me.
Do you have a message there's might be a greater public seeing this. Do you have any message for the greater public from an Aquarian stellium?
To be kind, to send love out to the world, and you know, if you can't be nice to someone, don't say anything at all. Just be kind to people. Smile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sue.
Uh-huh.
So Sue, do you remember who did you pick out after you spoke?
Elizabeth.
Elizabeth. 2 or 3 minutes. I'll put you for 2 if you need another minute.
I don't really need to continue more. I just want to say that I've been waiting my whole life to feel like I could make a difference and I could fit in, and that I would be like somehow like I always felt like light years ahead of everybody. And for example, young people really like me, which is odd because they talk about boomers, but I don't fit in the stereotype of the boomers either. So I feel like I'm with them. I'm with the young people, and I want to pass the torch to them too, but I feel like we have a lot to offer in the meantime. That's all.
Do you have a message of inspiration for our viewers beyond our community and our community?
Yeah, well, my message is very much the message that always choose love, not fear. I'm a student of A Course in Miracles, and I really believe that when we see something we hate, it's because we recognize it in ourselves. It's like you're looking in the mirror. So when I always try to look at the other person and try to see things from their perspective. And even if they are on the wrong side of history, I can still respect them. I can still treat them with respect and never, ever reason to not be compassionate towards people.
That's a really beautiful message, Elizabeth, because we need more of that for sure. Tolerance and listening to other people's perspective.
Okay, for Christine now.
Christine.
Well, again, I'm so glad that we could have this call because I've loved hearing from every one of you. I could relate to something that each one of you said that was like, me too, you know, be together in person so we can, you know, really converse and everybody talk at once. But yeah, I mean, I don't really have much to add to what I said earlier, except I hope that we continue to grow more, like more people find us and we end up being a real like a group that can really do something and make a difference, because I think we're all kind of humanitarian. We have humanitarian values and we're kind of futuristic, visionary, like we see the world, you know, as becoming better than it is now. And
do you have a message for a broader audience who might watch this?
so stay focused on love, you know, just like we've these spiritual masters in our past, people like Jesus Christ who, just follow the teachings, just, love one another. Let's stay focused on brotherly love and forget hating people just because they're different. This is not going to help our world. We have to stay on the path of love.
Absolutely. Thank you, Christine. So do you remember who spoke after you? Was it Louise, I think? Or
me.
Yvette? Okay, Louise, you're go ahead, Louise.
Oh, I haven't got that much more to say either. Yeah, just keep raising our vibration, I think. It's I just feel that there's something amazing coming for all of us. And yeah, the tingles down the spine, it's just incredible, the energy that I get from the group that's on here today even, and I'm excited. I'm really excited. Just be kind to your mind. Be kind. I think that's what Aquarius is all about. Spreading the love and to be kind. People can be so judgmental, and I think if we can pull it back, that we're all doing the best that we can at this point in time, and just be kind. So I'm going to pass over to Yvette. I think you're next. Be kind to your mind.
Thank you, Louise. Well, the same. I think that the only thing that I want to share is the same message. I think that the younger generation have given us a lot of good lessons in equality and tolerance for differences. And I think that they probably we were the ones who opened the way for this new generation to be able to open to talk about it and to experience that more openly. That our generation, we had to struggle a lot with more oppositional forces, and I think that that is the right way to go, is through tolerance, respecting the lifestyles and the beliefs of everybody, and to keep the democratic system or democratic-like system going, to respect the individuality of everybody. And that's all I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Yvette. It's great to see you and hear what's going on with you. Who was next? Was it Kate?
Sure, I'll go. I just wanted to check, Yvette, are you the one who has a Scorpio rising and third and fourth house?
Yes.
Okay, I thought so. I was trying to remember. Thank you. I think my message to the world at large is like, let your freak flag fly. Like individualism, don't be afraid to be exactly who you are and explore who you can be. I feel like fear in that whole duality of the Piscean age, there's fear and then there's love, and I almost can boil every single problem that the earth, the humanity is struggling with is fear related, I think, because fear, if it's scarcity is fear of abundance, and then why are there wars? Because we might lose our territory, or there might not be enough. So anyway, I just think if we can somehow learn how to release fear, well, we're gonna really be riding a rocket. And a good one. So, and yeah, thank you for Andrea and Dan, and I really wish I could have heard more from Pascal. I don't really know much about him, but there's always time. We're just sort of getting ourselves linked, it seems like. I love Dan's idea about having, I think I'm interpreting what he's saying as sort of us going off in pairs and sort of having interviews and making some kind of presentation about each other or the other. Is that what you meant, Dan?
Yeah, I'll mention that a little bit when I talk.
Okay. I love that idea. I'll participate if that's, anyway, that certainly should be 2 minutes, right?
That was, yeah. Thank you, Kate.
Sure.
So I think now it was you, Dan, right? Did you go yet? Lauren and Dan and me.
Okay, I'll go, and then Lauren went after me last time, so
Okay.
yeah, we can do that again. Okay, so I guess my message to the world would be the future is coming and it's going to be good if we make it good, if we accept it and we live it out of love instead of fear. And I've heard that come up more than once, that fear is an issue. And I want to remind everyone too that anger is actually a derivative of fear. You're never angry until you're afraid of something, whether it's losing status, losing something, losing territory. Anger comes from fear. So if you think about that long enough, I think you'll find it's true. We need to live the future out of love, kindness, and respect for each other. Technology can be a good thing. It's the humans that use it that make it one thing or another. So be good humans and we'll have a good time with technology. There's all that. So aside from a message to the general public, I also wanted to mention a few things. One of the things that I was reminded of hearing someone else speak, I don't remember exactly what sparked it, but a book that my wife teaches or taught with a lot. She's a retired astrologer psychic. And an emphasis on the retired. She doesn't do it for a living anymore, but she did for 38 years. But the book was called The Game of Life by Florence Scovel Shinn. It was written way, way, way back. That's a really good book. If you have not heard of that book, I'll put it in the chat in a minute, and I'll also throw a post or two in the Aquarians of 62 group about that book. But that's one every one of us should read. It has some religious connotations in it because of the time. There's some of the framing there, but if you look at the deeper message aside from that, that's underneath that, it's wonderful. It's absolutely fantastic. And then regarding the idea, I thought we should get together and do public recorded one-on-ones that are kind of a little bit biographical. Interview each other and have the interview draw out the biography of the individual. And on another note, another reason for doing that is we have a bunch of children coming up being born into Aquarian stelliums around now over the last few years. They're going to want to hear from us in the future when they find out about this. And there's another Aquarian stellium, a major one coming up, I want to say in about 79 years, 80 years or so. So we want to leave a legacy for future Aquarians so that they can understand what it's like to live under one of these. So on that note, I'll pass. Lauren, Sharon and I were on the last one talking about, both of us have been drawn to hypnotherapy. I want to talk with you at another time about that, and then I'll pass it on to you.
Thank you, Dan.
Awesome. Yeah, very fun stuff. Gosh, time just flies. I hope we do more of these. Yeah, what I heard everybody say was this notion of, love versus fear. So I guess my message would be the energy that you carry into everything that you do is what you're going to attract from. And energy follows attention. And what we focus our attention on amplifies and grows in our experience. So I'm actually building a new course. I'm finally going to be hiring somebody to help me that has, I mean, it's nothing new. It's nothing that you guys don't already know, but it's a way to describe it. So like many of us, we probably feel like we've got our artistic or our writing endeavors or the things that want to express through us. And so this is what's emerging through me, and I'm excited to develop it. But again, it's just about how do you identify where you're putting your energy and how do you carry it into the world? And then also to trust that when things go south, because it's not going to be all bliss bunnies, how do we use the quote unquote negativity as fertile soil for growth and opportunity? How do we use the dark, the feminine, the depths of life's experience to help shape us and grow us into the kinds of beings that we choose to be? So I'll leave it at that. And I'm excited to get to know you better, everybody. Thanks.
Thank you, Lauren. So I guess it's my turn. I'll set the timer. So I guess I wanted to share that back when I was 21, I read a book about the astrology of now. And it was the Vedic astrology and what's happened, the precession of the equinoxes and this big shift going from the Kali Yuga to the Silver Age and eventually the Golden Age. And I was reading a lot about prophecies. And one of the things that I, gleaned from it all was it was very important to develop your intuition because the world was going to become very perilous. I love that word. I mean, it's a great word. And that we had to listen to our intuition to know where to be and a safe place to be. And that as long as you listen to your intuition, you would be safe. So I was 21 when I read that, and I started meditating to develop my pineal gland and develop my intuition. And it's so funny because all these years of being afraid of being laughed at and people judging me for being too woo-woo or whatever, during the pandemic, I had all these spiritual tools, and I kept having, I would do the toroidal field activation. I'm happy to lead us through that or a different one. We could go on a spaceship. But by doing that toroidal field activation, I felt so centered and aligned during the pandemic. I was like, this is great. We get to do whatever we want. There's nowhere we have to be.
Yeah.
And it was so, for me, I loved it. And I just want to say about the world and our consciousness, about shifting the consciousness, is after traveling in India for 6 months on a spiritual journey, I was reading a book about this Babaji who could manifest in 2 different places, bilocate, and learning a lot about, enlightenment and everything. And I was reading about God and enlightenment and this Baba. And then I noticed in the ocean, there was all this garbage, and it was like big chunky pieces of garbage, but there were no waves. It was very calm ocean. And I thought, oh, that's disgusting, all those garbage. And then I looked at my book, and then I realized that I was eating chips out of a bag that was like the ones that were floating in the ocean. And I was like, oh my God, I'm part of the problem eating these chip bags that, don't biodegrade. And then I looked out again at the ocean, and the garbage started to become smaller. I was like, how is this possible? That's so weird. And then I read my book again, and, maybe 20 minutes later, I looked up again, and the garbage even became smaller, like tiny little pieces, and there were no waves. So I couldn't figure out how this happened. And I got a download at that moment, and it said to me, and that's what I want to share this to everyone, is that the garbage out there is a reflection of the garbage in here. When we change the garbage in here, we will be able to deal with the garbage out there like that. So it's about consciousness and shifting our consciousness. And now that I'm not afraid to be called names anymore, watch out. I'm tomorrow, if anyone's interested, I'm going to be doing a master class talking about the root chakra and how self-worth is related to the root chakra and our, healing the root chakra and prosperity. It's all connected, self-worth. And then I'm leading my chakra program at the end of the March. And yeah, I'm just, and I wanted to say, Dan, my goal is to have a YouTube channel where I interview people. So I would love to interview all of you, anyone who wants to be interviewed, because I just think we got to talk about this stuff because we're at the crossroads. And like Dan said, it's up to us. We are the ones, we've been waiting for. We choose to evolve or we choose to destroy what we're this life.
I think we need interviewers to keep us on track because I don't know about the rest of you. Yeah, I do know about the rest of you. Our minds fly in 50 different directions.
Exactly.
That's good.
Yes. Well, maybe we need a Capricorn person to lead the interview.
I have a few Capricorn friends. They probably would be pretty good at it.
Yeah. So I think that was my time. I think I talked more, but I'm happy to lead a little guided meditation to send us off with a visual. But if anyone wants to share before I do that, or has to go earlier, or doesn't want to do it, then now's the time to speak.
I'm game.
Okay.
Game?
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, I'll do it.
I'm in.
All right.
Does
Laura,
Yvette want to speak? Because she has her hand up.
No,
Yvette.
Yeah, I just wanted to say very quickly for next meetings that I am interested. I put it in the chat. I am interested about talking about cathartic events that happen in our lives and at what year of our lives. Because, for example, I had one when I was 7 years old, to see if we had same years when something transitional happened to us. And another thing is who had experienced paranormal and psychic experiences in the childhood, and now they are returning in this time. And yes, that was it. Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to say, I think that because we are Aquarian traits of being scientifically sort of ration driven and also interest in astrology, that because we have this great opportunity to sort of test astrology because we have each other and our personal timelines to compare. So I think it's it's fertile ground that we should plant something in. So
This is where having Pascal listen in on this and comment on these interviews and comment later might be a good thing because he knows the astrology.
Yeah. How about Ray Grassi? Is he studying us to write about us or anything?
I don't know that he's studying us, but I know Ray. I've met Ray in person, and and he also is an editor for the Mountain Astrologer as well, and he's heavily involved with the Theosophical Society. And as you can tell, he's a fantastic writer. But I don't know that he's directly studying us. I think he finds us of interest, and I think he's wrote at least one article about the Aquarian stellium, but not us as not the people, but the astrology of it. So I would tend to say the answer to that is no.
Did you write an article in the Mountain Astrologer, Dan, about stelliums?
I never wrote anything in the Mountain Astrologer. No, Ray
Somebody
did.
write an article about us.
7.
Yeah, because maybe someone, maybe Dan, who knows Ray, could mention it. And
I bet someone would love to study us.
Wow.
I want to say synchronicity.
I could reach out to a couple of my astrologer friends. I'm friends with Rick Levine and with Meredith Fromke. They both have like, millions of followers. So I could
Wow.
see if they're
Oh.
interested.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Rick Levine. I love Rick Levine. That's see what he says. That would be interesting.
I think we should get some of these interviews going too. It wouldn't be a bad idea to have an astrologer's input coming up with interview questions. I mean, if we're going to have like a questionnaire format of some sort that the
Yeah.
interviewer is
Yeah,
going to use
that would
as a
be great.
guideline, that
Yeah.
might not be a bad idea.
Maybe,
I think
maybe
that-
there
on
could be an
track.
astrologer in part of the interview to look at the chart while the person, I don't know, being interviewed.
That would be good too.
I think those
questions.
questions would be oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
The questions would be really fruitful for the person being interviewed as well, because how many times have you been interviewed when the light bulb goes on, like when you're done, like, oh, wow,
Yes.
I forgot that. So it'd be good to be prepared for the interviews with that list
Right.
of questions, whether interviewee or interviewer.
And the rebel in me goes to, how busy are we and who's really going to take the time to watch this? And, I'm not, I just have way too much on my plate. So, the more we can make it condensed and relevant and appropriate, as opposed to talking heads rambling on, I think the better.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
I think,
right,
Andrea, if
I
you're going
commit to sending an email to Rick and to Meredith and to see what their interest level is.
Okay, great. And you said you have a YouTube channel too, right?
I
Lauren?
do. I don't want to do advertising, but yeah, it's I think it's called Lauren Archer Coaching and Hypnotherapy. So it's just YouTube at Lauren Archer. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of Lauren Archers out there though, I discovered. So
Well, maybe you could share in the group, because like I'll follow you and I got a YouTube channel. Like we can support
Yeah.
each other by following each other's. I don't think we've done that. Like post your IG link, post your,
Yep.
so we can support each other.
I think that's a great idea.
Because it's about helping each other rise up.
Yep, sounds good.
Okay, I was about to break into a song from that show. Anyways, so
We have to do this more often.
yes. Well, it took a while to get us all organized. So anytime you want to organize a Zoom, just say just put it out there and say, let's meet on Zoom and see who shows up, because it might not be everyone all the time, right? So if you want to do the little meditation, does anyone have to go right at the top of the hour? Because it's 3 minutes, so I can do a shorter or longer meditation.
shorter would be better because we have somewhere to go after this and it still has to convert the video.
Okay, so then I'll just do something really quick. It won't be quite a guided journey. It'll just be really more of a grounding meditation. So just taking a deep breath in on 4. Hands relaxed, palms facing up, and breathing out. Blowing out through your mouth if you need to release more stress. And just breathing in again. I feel the energy of all of you is very electric and bubbly, and it's just good to ground this energy into our hearts and into the earth. So just imagine sending a root down from your spine through the floor and all the way down into the mother, to our Mother Earth. We have so much air. It's really important that we remember to ground into the earth. And now just imagine drinking up some unconditional love from Mother Earth. And imagine it being a rose quartz iridescent color, pink, just light shimmering all the way up through your entire being as you drink up through your roots, so that every cell is just glistening with this beautiful rose quartz, unconditional love. And then in the next breath, just imagining that there's a pillar of golden light coming down through your crown chakra from the divine source, the cosmic sun, going all the way down through your whole being into Mother Earth. So you become this beautiful rainbow bridge between heaven and earth. And as you're drinking up this unconditional love for Mother Earth, allow it to come all the way up through you and imagine it shooting out of the top of your head like a fountain of iridescent gold and rose in color. And it's falling all around you back to the Mother Earth. And you're drinking it up in this beautiful reciprocity, giving back to Mother Earth and receiving from Mother Earth. And from the cosmic sun, reminding us that we are light beings and activating our every cell to remember that we came here for a very sacred purpose, to enlighten and raise consciousness. And may you always remember this, that you are star seeds and it's our time to shine. And just feeling connected in our hearts, all of us here and all of us in our collective and all through the world, and just sending the love from your heart to the entire planet, cosmos, rippling out golden rose-colored light to the entire planet and cosmos. Taking a deep breath in and rubbing your hands together and just rubbing your face as though you're washing your face and coming back here. And I just have a request for a photo. If everyone can lean forward, I'll do like a little screenshot. So where's Christine? Lean in, Christine. Shine your pearly whites. Kathleen. All right. We'll do one more just to make sure we got everyone. 1, 2, 3. Yes. All right.
Should say Aquarians.
Aquarian.
Real quick, I'm gonna say I'm actually working out in the garage on this, and I built the workbench in here myself, and the top of the workbench is stainless steel grounded for working on computers.
There you go.
Good. You have to be
My hands were grounded, literally.
Good. Yep. Time to bring our light to the earth. We're stars. We're the stars.
Yay.
Or the
All right,
energy of the
everyone.
stars, for sure. Yeah.
We'll see
Bye-bye.
you.
Much
All
love.
right, love to
Bye,
everybody.
Love to everyone.
Bye, everyone. Thank you,
Bye-bye.
hosts, for
Thank you.
coordinating this.
All right.
Thank
Thanks
you.
everyone for coming.
Nice to
Many
meet you.
blessings. Bye. Ciao.
Bye.